Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience tuning in Mississippi on WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com. We're glad you all could be with us. Also, those joining us online around the world, thanks to our friends at iHeartRadio. We're glad you all could be with us as well. We're excited to welcome Dr. Kelvin Smith to our program today. Dr. Smith is known not only as an educator, but now he's been able to chronicle his journey as a father through his new series of books called Daddy Moments. We'll talk to Dr. Smith not only about his love of education and working with young people, but also what it's been like for him as a father to be able to share that experience with all of you guys, and also the response to his books as well. Dr. Smith, thank you so much for the time. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so, a lot for us to cover here, but I want to kind of begin with where we are now with 2020. How does it feel with all you've been able to achieve in education now to add published author to your name as well?
It is a humble blessing. That's one thing I tell everybody, because I'm coming from a small town in Yazoo City. This has really meant something special to me because Yazoo City, Mississippi, I wasn't born there, but I was raised there by my grandmother, my aunt, Barbette. I tell everybody I was blessed, and my mother decided to send me to Mississippi to be raised by them from Chicago, to where she felt like there'll be a better situation for me moving forward with my life, and I always blessed her for that. The idea moving forward, just knowing that I've done something for my kids. A lot of people will ask authors, are you doing it for money, for fame, or what? And I've told people that I've done it for my kids. Daddy Moments Volume 1 is specifically about my first daughter, Kaden, from my first marriage. And I wanted to do something unique for her to where she can always remember. I grew up without a father, and I know how that felt. So me being an educator and a former coach and teacher, I understand the impact that strong black men does play in many of our African-American lives, and not just African-American, just in anybody's life, because I've reached so many lives in my career, no matter the race, creed, gender, whatever. I've reached so many lives that I've learned the impact that a father does play. Mothers are the greatest thing in life, because, like I say, my mother made a strong and hard decision to send me to my grandmother and aunt to be raised, and I appreciate for that, and I applaud all mothers for the things they have to do daily. But I just really felt like fathers need to have a good spotlight put on them as well, especially ones who actually work hard at being a dad. Because for my situation, I juggle many hats. I try my best just to be the best person I can be, so my kid and my students can look up to that image and know what's the best they can be moving forward in life.
Right. We're going to come back to Daddy Moments and remind our audience, Dr. Smith, how they can get it. I want to go, though, to your love of community and also young people, because, as I mentioned, you also are an educator as well, been able to work in the education system. What is it that drove you to an area where you wanted to be able to make an impact on the youth?
It started with my family. I have so many family members that are educators. I have retired principals, retired teachers in my family. And in 2020 hindsight, they actually felt like I should have been an educator when I first went off to college. I tried my best to go away from it, but the one thing that was always put in my life was I was always good motivating and educating young students. Even when I was in college, I did community service at schools. Playing college football, we did so much community outreach programs and activities that just almost drawn me to it. Even when I graduated from college in 2000 from Alabama A&M, my degree was in telecommunications. I had full intention of going into the broadcasting field, but the Lord showed me a different light. I ended up trying to work for a TV station. It had a hiring freeze, so they couldn't exactly hire me, even though they promised me the job. I decided to do a year as a full-time sub at an alternative school, which was unique in itself. And the fact that the principal saw so much passion in me and educating the students that I had that year that they suggested for me to go back and get my alternative certification. And I ended up doing that. I went to Miles College in Birmingham, Alabama, received my alternative certification, and I went straight into the teaching field. I became an English teacher, and I coached football and multiple other sports when I first jumped into the education field. And that's where I really learned and saw the impact that I can make, because so many of my students never saw someone like me, a person that not only cared about their education, but also was able to say, I came from this background. I lived in what they call in Yazoo City, lives in apartments. And at one point in time, it was probably about over 10 of us living in an apartment at some point in time, 3-bedroom apartment, but we made it happen and we made it work. And I educate to my young students that I can come from that aspect and move forward. You can too. And I try to be that model that let them know that, as long as they have a goal in life, don't let anything steer you off course.
I think that's such an important point. To that point, though, Dr. Smith, and I'm glad you brought that up, because there are so many times people will tell us what we can't do, right? But, I think one of the most dangerous things is when we tell ourselves. What do you think helped you to believe that you could do whatever it was that you put your mind to?
It was my personal drive. The way I looked at life was real simple, that you always going to have critics. You're going to be your biggest critic. So the moment that you overcome and stop listening to the inside critic, you shouldn't pay attention to the outside critics. With me, myself, I knew my upbringing was not, we weren't rich, we was modest, poor, and I was proud of that humble beginning, because that what gave me my drive of knowing what I wanted. My grandmother, my aunt had a vision for me. They wanted me to graduate from college. They wanted me to graduate from high school, graduate from college, be successful in life. But at a point of them giving me all that positive encouragement, because there was always a lot of naysayers as I grew up. I had to go ahead and put in my mind that I had to do it for myself. Right. Once a young person realized the benefits of doing it for yourself, that's the main focus point, that can be your self-drive to be better than, where you came from. I've had a lot of former athletes that came from family backgrounds that wasn't the greatest, but giving them that positive encouragement and let them know that if they have that drive to go forward, it can be accomplished. And that was basically became with my aspect. I wanted to get an education. I wanted to get degrees. I want to be the best person I can be. And I didn't pigeonhole myself and just saying, well, I'm just going to be a coach. Some people had an image that a coach, that's all I worry about, is winning. My focus was doing the best for my student athletes and doing the best for my students. If you couldn't go and play college ball, still go to college, still make a life for yourself, and be a part of society that has a positive impact on the next generation that's coming up.
I think that's so important, and I think for all of us to realize the impact we can have. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, you're listening to Conversations Live. We're speaking with Dr. Kelvin Smith today. We're talking with him not only about his career in education, but also what's been like for him as a published author as well. The first book in his Daddy Moments series is out now on Amazon. We'll remind you guys of that. So when you hear from some of the students, Dr. Smith, that you've been able to impact about how your example has motivated them and encouraged them, does that make you feel as though you're doing exactly what you were supposed to be doing?
Yes, sir. And the greatest blessing from that is to hear them try to give me credit for what I did, but I always tell them, pass it forward. I remember the very first student athlete I got a scholarship for, Antonio Nelson. He's a big-time coach in the state of Alabama right now. I remember the first softball girl I got a scholarship for. I remember the first kid in general that I helped go to college that didn't think they can get to college because mom and dad didn't understand about filling out for financial aid, didn't understand about filling out for a college application. So, those first sparked something great in me to where I tell a lot of people, educators play a major part in society. And sometimes we do get overlooked. But that's the profession that we chose to go in. We're not the ones that be put on the spotlight. We're the ones that help create society spotlighters. I am proud to say I've coached or taught doctors, lawyers, individuals that may work at a plant. And, I never discredit anything. Like I tell them, what you do in life is your goal, your dream, your passion. And if it's not, you're not there right now, still have that goal and that dream placed somewhere high and still make that drive forward. So for me to see so many of my former students tell me, I'm married, I got a degree, I'm doing this, all I can do is tell you, thank you for doing what I always knew you could do. Now, the next thing I need you to do is turn back and help someone else in the next generation so the cycle keeps building.
Right. One of the things I heard you say in a recent interview, Dr. Smith, transitioning back to your being a published author and also being a father, more importantly, is that, the way that you look at family and the importance of family for you. Is it also something that you want us, you talked about, of course, what the mothers do in the household, but the importance of the father. Is that also what you want young men to know about the responsibility that comes with being a father, and remember that when it goes to, looking at their children or having children?
Yes, sir. I brag about that daily to student athletes and anyone I get a chance to meet. The simple fact of the matter, I proudly tell anybody I have 5 kids. Since remarrying to my beautiful wife, Antonia, that she grew up in Yazoo City with me, similar background as well, upbringing, that a family is key to me. I was raised in belief that you are as strong as your family, and a family bond is something you can never, ever replace. I tell the kids all the time I have 5 children, and 2 of them are my bonus kids. I never say the word step because I don't believe in step family or step children because I feel like they'll get stepped on and stepped over in retrospect of that word. So I'll say bonus, or I'll just say my children because they're my children. And I try to tell everybody that, the idea of what a young man needs to become, that he needs to be that person that needs to have a strong backbone, have a strong work ethic, have a strong core and belief system, and making sure his family is taken care of. Because the way I'm bringing my kids up, I want them to understand by the model of me and my wife what we present to them. Yes, we're both educators. Yes, we both came from one background, but this is the background that you have now, and I want you to be better than that. And I always educate my young students every day that you want to do better than your parents because that's their drive for you, but you want to be better for the next generation of kids that you may have, because whatever you do in life, you want your kids to be better than you. You never want them to settle for anything. And that's the main thing I teach my young men every day, that you never settle. No matter what anyone tells you, you never settle.
That's so true. Such an amazing point. So I mentioned, of course, Volume 1 is already out now on Amazon of your Daddy Moment series, Dr. Smith. The reviews are already coming in. What has that been like for you to see the way that people are praising this book and wanting to talk to other people about it? Again,
it is amazing that something that started out as an idea that I want to do something special for my daughter, to just show her, how I felt about her, how I felt like our first year went, because I didn't think that anyone would honestly pay attention to me just sharing simple daily things of me learning how to change the diaper for the first time, me learning how to hold my daughter for the first time. I didn't think anyone wanted to really listen to anything like that. But, when so many people started paying attention to my writings, I felt like I could post that online because I felt like fathers needed to hear that. And for people to say how genuine my words were in the book, that they want to pass it on to a father to be or a mother to be. And true enough, it's daddy moments. But I tell anybody, it's not just for fathers. It's for anyone that's a parent now, been a parent for years, about to be a parent. Give you a fresh look from a different pair of eyes. Everybody has heard, the mother aspect of being a parent, but sometimes fathers never know how to put their words on paper and how to share their words genuinely. We're treated to keep things inside, never really show a softer side, and I don't mind showing the softer side because sometimes you need to educate people that, yes, as a father, we do worry about things. We do take on the weight of the world, and sometimes the most simple thing to one person may be difficult to us. And I appreciate seeing so much growth from the people who have showered with so much praise. And I've seen so many people say Kaden is a great daughter that appreciate having a father like me. And I say, no, it's reverse. I can be such a great father without Caden. And now having 5, between Caden, Nevaeh, Antoine, Kinsley, and Courtney, they have made me a better father than I ever thought I could be. And that's the one thing I want so many people to understand. Your children make you great. And that's how I feel every day when I wake up.
Yeah, I want to end with what you write in the dedication, Dr. Smith, of the book. As you talked about your accomplishment of writing it, you say, I hope this accomplishment makes everyone proud, and I also want this accomplishment to serve as an example that anything is possible for my kids, as well as motivation for any kid from Yazoo to know that the sky is not the limit, but that the limit is the sky. And I think that's a great reminder for all of us when it comes to pursuing our goals and dreams, setting goals for ourselves and realizing what's possible. Again, everyone, Dr. Kelvin Smith has been our guest. He is the author of Daddy Moments, Volume 1. That's out now. You guys can get it through our partners at Amazon.com. You guys can get the Kindle edition like we did for only $3, but you can also get the print edition there as well. Dr. Smith, how can our audience stay connected with you?
I have a Daddy Moments fan page. If they type in Daddy Moments on Facebook, they'll see this cartoon image of me and my 5 kids together. They can easily try to find me on Daddy Moments on Twitter, and they can just become my friends on Facebook. I'm always open, so they can find me as Kelvin Smith, and they'll see a picture of all 5 of my kids. The one thing about it is you will see my kids no matter what on any type of social media. And please look forward. I'm making Daddy Moments Volumes 2 and 3. 2 should be coming out in the beginning of 2021. That's going to highlight the bridge of blending my family together, my bonus kids and my daughter, Caden. I journaled that for the first 2 years being together, and then Volume 3 is going to center around the twins, their first 2 years being in the world, and me being a father of multiples, because that's unique in itself as well.
What gives us a lot to be able to look forward to. Dr. Smith, congratulations to you again. Thank you so much for the time, and looking forward to having you back on the program again.
Thank you, sir.
We thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live.